Disney presents from Frontierland,
with Stetson so white and a pearl-handled gun swinging on his side. Texas John Slaughter made 'em do what they oughter, 'cause if they didn't, they died.
In the brief time he served with the Texas Rangers, John Slaughter won a quick promotion to lieutenancy. It's quite possible, had he stayed with them, that he might have moved right on up to the top command. He was that kind of a man. But Slaughter joined the Rangers as a means to an end. His real ambition was to become a peaceful rancher and devote his time and energies to raising cattle. Getting started as a rancher in those days was no simple matter. In this adventure of our true hero of the West, we see the struggle of John Slaughter as he tries to make his dream of a slaughter ranch become a reality. It's titled The Man from Bitter Creek.
Hold it, John. I forgot to kiss the bride.
Okay. Come on, fellas, you did that already.
We did?
Please, why don't you take these kissing rangers over to the saloon, buy them a drink?
I will, John, as soon as they finish kissing.
Well, they're just about finished.
Who let him in line? I don't think you're being very fair, John. We won't see Addie for a long time.
Yep.
Ben, the captain couldn't make it, John, but they sent along a little advice.
You tell them to send it to me in a letter.
Mr. Slaughter, I think there's a few things you ought to know, being as I'm a good friend of John's. Why, I remember...
Hey, if you're going to say what I think you're going to say, you're going to put an awful strain on our friendship.
Well, at least I think you ought to listen to your brother, Charlie. I think he has something important to say.
Hey, Charlie, there is something I'd like to hear you say. What's that? Goodbye. Ain't much, Addie. I put all I had in the land and cattle.
Johnny, a woman's first home doesn't have to be big. Just has to be hers.
Brother Charlie's got the spread north of here. He'll run both places when I'm off on a drive. We figured that way, building together, we... Hey, Addie, you listening to me?
Is it as beautiful inside as it is out?
You've got to remember, I've been living alone for some time now.
Never again.
Up to now, it's just been a house.
Well, let's go home.
Another 48 hours without water, those cattle will be dropping in their tracks.
How could it dry up?
Well, I'd say somebody helped it.
Who?
Well, I don't know. Sam Underwood owns the next ranch. He's considered to be a pretty big man around these parts.
Why would he want to dam up our water?
Maybe he just wants to show me how far he can stretch.
John, no fighting. Not today.
Don't you worry, honey. I'm just going to ask the man to be a little more neighborly. Where do I find Underwood?
Depends on who's calling.
My name is Slaughter.
What do you want to see him about? Well?
I'm waiting for an answer to my question.
Now look here, Slaughter.
He's at the house. Thanks. Open it.
Mr. Slaughter?
That's right, Mr. Underwood.
Sorry I missed your wedding. I was rather busy.
Yeah. Busy building that dam as a present for me and my wife?
It's a half-mile inside my holding, Slaughter. I've got a sort of legal right to build it. Until the law says I haven't, it stays.
It cut off my water supply.
That so?
It's killing my cattle.
I don't figure that's any of my problem.
I rode out here to let you know that it is.
Now, you wouldn't want anybody busting in telling you how to handle your spread, would you? Don't tell me how to run mine.
Tell those gun hands of yours to stand there nice and quiet like.
For a man in a dead-end canyon, you're giving a lot of orders.
Just one, Mr. Underwood. Not an order. It's not even a favor. Just something I want.
We're neighbors, Slaughter. All you have to do is ask.
By noon tomorrow, I better see running water.
John?
Hey, Eddie. Been sitting out here all this time?
Did you see Mr. Underwood?
I saw him.
Did you talk to him?
Plain enough so that he understands.
Good.
Why don't you go in the house, honey? Me and the boys cleaned it all up. Had them on their knees scrubbing floors for 2 days. Patty? What's the matter, honey?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
For hours, and he just won't listen. I thought since you're his brother, maybe you could talk to him.
Talk him out of it, is that what you mean?
Well, there must be some other way to deal with Mr. Underwood.
Well, if there was, John would do it.
Please try.
Want me right along, Johnny?
Nope.
We are sort of partners.
Not in this, Charlie.
John, can't you just talk to him just once more?
That's all I'm going to do, honey, is talk. Only this time I'm going to talk a little louder.
You got a real thing about him, ain't you, Yancey? I can almost see it choke you.
When he was a ranger, he put a bullet through a friend of mine. So nothing. I just want to return the bullet.
Don't move! Keep your hands in sight. Drop the gun belt. Back up. Now get your friend on his horse and wait.
Patch him up, boys.
I had no quarrel with him.
You made your point, Mr. Slaughter.
I can blow him up a lot faster than you can build him.
I know that.
And you've got a lot more to lose in a range war than I have.
I know that, too.
Then here's what I'm offering. I'll see that your strays don't end up in my herd. I'll expect the same from you. And unless the sun dries it up, that water keeps running. And if there's any more gunplay, it's you and me together. Against Indians or rustlers.
15, 20 years ago, I wasn't so easy to deal with.
And I'm glad we didn't meet 15, 20 years ago.
Keeps me busy every minute.
How many times you swept the floor?
At least 100. I was so frightened.
Honey, I told you not to worry.
Taught him how to use all 4 legs at once yet.
Well, mares always have the same problem. They always figure it out the same way.
It seems to me that the father could lend a hand.
Oh, he's probably out in the pasture bragging to the boys.
It's just like a man.
What you know about men?
I know mine is going off on a drive in a week.
Yep.
It's just so you can see all those dance hall girls in Abilene.
Oh, that's what you think, huh?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to Abilene.
Oh?
I'm going to Mexico. You got to practically give your herd away in Abilene. I'm going to buy a herd down south and drive it into New Mexico territory where I can make a decent profit.
But that's what Abel Bowen said. And he never got back to the Rio Grande.
Oh, the minute a man walks out the door, his woman starts to worrying.
Well, a lot you about women.
Well, I'm one of the few men who can say that women are no mystery.
Oh. When do you think that you're going to get back from this drive?
I guess you better figure about middle October.
I guess you better figure about the middle of September.
Now, honey, you know I don't stay away any longer than I have to.
September?
October.
If you really knew so much about women...
Well, what I know about women's got nothing... Huh? Middle of September?
Uh-huh.
Why didn't you tell me before?
Because you know so much about women.
Turned out his mouth was faster than his gun.
There'll be somebody else up there to take his place.
Somebody else will take him down, too. What can I do for you, mister?
What do I see about hiring some hands?
Well, I can arrange it for you, Mr.
Slaughter. John Slaughter.
How many hands?
Well, I'll have a herd at the river due south of here on the 1st of August. I'll need about a dozen hands to get them all over to Mexico.
How much you want to pay?
40 a month and keep.
Best night's sleep I've had in a month, Sheriff.
Your brother paid you fine.
Thank you.
That's a nice looking pair of guns you got there. See one?
Unless you're wearing a star, you want to see my gun, you got to take it away from me.
Oh? How'd you like a job?
My brother and I ride together.
Well, I could use 2 men. You interested?
Maybe.
I wouldn't advise it, Slaughter.
Oh? His picture up there?
Not yet, but I'm keeping 2 places open.
Well, then I think I'll hire him.
I just as soon bed down between a couple of cougars.
Oh. I've been on the trail for a week. I could use a good night's sleep.
A few rooms over the Ace High, right next door.
Thank you. I'm heading for Mexico tomorrow morning, buying a herd and pushing it north.
How do you pay?
In gold. 40 a month and keep.
Fair enough. We're sleeping on the trail tonight. Sheriff's idea. 5-6 miles out of town toward the Rio.
I'll be there. Howdy.
Yes.
You got a room?
No, I'm all filled up.
Is there any place else in town where I can get a bed and bath?
Well, I ought to have an empty at about 6.
Fine, I'll take it. How about some food?
Steak?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Tell him not to burn it. It's just a word of advice from a man who tried one.
Thank you. Better make that rare.
Keep an eye on it myself.
You care to join us for some poker?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm Bill Gallagher. This is my trail boss, Boyd.
All right, John Slaughter.
You gonna be in Crystal Springs long?
No, just overnight.
I won't be here long myself. Just sold a few hundred head. On the way up to Dallas. You in cattle?
Yeah, I'm going south, see if they got anything worth buying.
I just paid Boyd for the last drive. Now I'm trying to win my money back.
How's he doing?
I got him for 50. See?
Oh, maybe I can get him to pay for my dinner.
Well, you will pay for mine.
Fair enough. Call the 50.
Flush.
Yours.
You know, luck's a lot like a woman. She flits from man to man. Just can't seem to make up her mind.
I'll open for 50.
I'll stay. Raise 50. Can't you guys let one round go by without a raise?
Up another 50.
Well, I'm staying. This time, nobody's driving me out. I'll try once more.
Just call.
Thanks.
Me too.
Sweet. I'll take one.
Mister, you want to do that again? Slow.
What do you mean?
Keep your hands where they are. You dropped that card off the bottom of the deck.
You're saying I'm cheating?
3 10s, a pair of 3s. I put your 4 cards on the table.
Doesn't give me much chance to beat you, does it?
The card you dropped off the bottom of the deck, I say it's a king. Let's see it. Flip it over. You win. You want to pick up the money?
You're holding too strong a hand.
Both of you on your feet. Get rid of those gun belts. Throw them over there. Over against the bar. Mister, I don't like a man who cheats. So if we ever meet again, you better not have a deck of cards in your hand. Turn around.
Hey! Walt said there was gun trouble.
No, he was wrong. Mr. Slaughter was just showing my friend and me a fancy draw.
He seemed like an ordinary kind of rancher to me. Didn't expect any trouble from him.
What do you know about him?
Well, he just rode in an hour ago. Asked me to have a dozen hands for him down by the river the 1st of August. That's all I know.
Well, I could tell you a few things. The sheriff isn't interested. My boys aren't working, so I told Mr. Slaughter he could use them.
He hired a couple of guns. Any man who rides with that kind must have the same kind of blood.
Well, he's carrying a lot of money, Sheriff. I think he's just being careful.
I wouldn't deal with him. I hope you know what you're doing.
I think I do.
Well, in that case, it's not my responsibility.
When a man tells me to put on a stake and then rides off without eating or paying, I wouldn't deal with him either.
I'll take Mr. Slaughter's dinner, Walter.
Good. I'll have it ready in a minute.
Can't we eat after we get our money back?
But I'm hungry now.
I'll get the horses. We can bushwhack him before he gets to the river.
We could, but we're not going to.
Why not?
Because it ain't polite to bushwhack a partner. And during dinner, I'll decide just how big a share I'm going to take.
He had black hair. A black hat with a whole flock of silver conchas on it. He was pretty fast with his hands. Only he wasn't fast enough.
You ever hear of a gun they call the man from Bitter Creek?
Only by reputation, not a very good one.
Well, you can now say that you've had the pleasure of meeting him.
Well, he's that Gallagher?
One is more than enough. Mostly he dabbles in other people's cattle. And usually he's pretty good with a deck of cards and a gun.
You ever see him in action?
Both him and Boyd. Once in El Paso and once in Dodge City. And both times somebody died.
That's funny. He backed down kind of easy for a gun slick.
Too easy. He's got a long memory, Mr. Slaughter. He'll remember you.
Well, I guess I gave him good reason to remember me.
And you remember that there's 13 weeping women who'll never forget him. 2-hour watches.
You You fellas can pull out now if you want to.
13. 13. That's not a very lucky number.
Hacienda.
That's quite a spread.
Senor, I am not one to complain about my wife, you understand. But it is because of her exquisite taste that I am forced to sacrifice my noble animals at this ridiculous price.
No, thank you. Your cousin, Don Jose, he used a different word when he described your cattle. I think it was, scrawny.
You have visited many haciendas, senor? And you must admit the only stock worth buying graze on the lands of Don Ricardo.
Well, the animals you showed me this morning were pretty fine looking. For scrawny critters.
But, senor, the ridiculous price you offered.
It'll help furnish a couple of more rooms for your lovely wife.
That is true.
Huh? A deal?
And a fair one.
If it's not going to leave you short-handed, I could use some of your men for the drive to the Rio.
Oh, the men are yours.
I thank you. I've arranged for some more men to meet me on the other side, south of El Oro.
You are going straight to New Mexico?
Oh, I saved myself 500 miles.
But, senor, not all of my countrymen live graciously. There are those with a more adventurous spirit.
Bandidos.
As wild and as numerous as cactus.
I got to be home by the middle of September.
May I offer some advice? Live every day twice. Because when you travel through Bandido country, there are not too many years.
How long they been riding with us?
4.5 weeks now.
And I haven't heard 2 cents worth of noise.
It's either coyotes or guitars. Take your pick.
The same song every night. Doesn't he know anything else?
I know that song. The only place I ever heard it was at a funeral.
Senor?
Yeah?
I am permitted to speak?
Sure.
My friends and I have been talking.
Quietly.
So as not to disturb you.
But something's disturbing you.
Mis amigos, we have families. I myself have 4 little ones in the last 5 years.
You're married to a good woman.
Gracias, senor. The trail we are following it.
There's plenty of green for the cattle, plenty of water.
Of some things, senor, we have too much.
We'll be at the river in 6 days, then you can turn your back on us.
Wishing you luck and vaya con Dios.
In a week. When he talks loud.
What do you mean?
Well, I'd say we were about to be ambushed by bandidos. And soon. He's told us, and his honor's satisfied.
What about his hide?
Be 50 miles south of here by dawn.
Are we gonna sit gun on them all night?
No. No, we'll let them go. Go quiet.
Well, why?
Banditos have already counted our strength. Why tell them we're wrong?
How soon you figure we'll be jumped?
I don't know, Mike.
Seems like a lot of important answers we haven't got, boss.
We'll have some of them soon enough.
Slaughter. Anyone chasing him?
Can't see anybody. Find anything?
Yep. This valley ends in a canyon about 4 or 5 miles up. That's where they're waiting.
How many?
Well, I saw about 20.
Well, that's a lot of guns.
Maybe we can turn back and find another route.
Nah, if they get us in the open, we'll pick us off like strays.
Yeah, but if things get rough in the open, we can always try and outrun them. We're in a canyon, we're as good as dead.
3 of us aren't going into that canyon.
Oh, that's good.
Just you.
Well, now, we better draw straws for this, Mr. Slaughter.
Let the man finish talking.
Look, they're expecting about 10 of us to come riding through, so they got themselves positioned for a crossfire ambush. Now, what we've got to do is get above them. You on one side, me on the other.
Go ahead.
If we can get them in a crossfire, we can drive them down on the canyon floor.
That'll give us a chance to pick off 2, maybe 3 apiece. By that time, they'll know we'll be holding those hills alone.
Then I come up with a bugle and a company of cavalry and save the fort.
You come riding in with a herd of stampeding cattle.
Hey, it's gonna be a turkey shoot, Paul.
Yeah, but with one difference. Those turkeys are gonna be shooting back. Let's get saddled up. There's a bottleneck up ahead about 20 feet wide. Hold the herd there. And when you hear the first shot, make them see ghosts.
Right. You take care of yourself, Paul. Here?
See you, kid.
Now, bien. You're ready, man.
sitting here for?
You think I could stop that herd alone?
Well, you could try.
Oh, they're spread over half the country. Anybody hurt?
Just me.
Where?
In the pocketbook. If we don't get those cattle, let's go.
Well, I need a drink.
Later.
I said later. I've been riding for 2 days and nights.
Tell me the story.
I got about 20 of Pedro Barreto's men. Promised them half the cattle like you told me to. Only things didn't work out.
Why not?
Because they turned tail and ran.
You're lying.
Why would I do that? Why?
Because you're afraid I'll kill you.
I came back tonight.
To tell me you let Slaughter keep his cattle.
Those cattle stampeded through that canyon. Nothing was going to stop them, nothing.
Slaughter will stop him.
Yeah? Yeah, well, first he's got to round them up.
He'll round them up. He'll drive them across the river.
We should have bushwhacked him before he even got to Mexico. I said we should do it, and I was right.
How long do you figure it'll take him to drive the cattle to the river?
3 or 4 days at least.
Let's go.
Where?
To round up the men.
For what?
So my partner and I can divide the profits.
Find a spot close by to bed him down for the night.
Yeah. Them and me, too.
I'm gonna ride on ahead, see if I can round up those hands. I'll be back before dark.
We'll have some hot food waiting for you.
When we get to El Oro, whatever you got coming, I'm gonna double.
Say thanks to the man.
I like working for you, Mr. Slaughter. The money's good and it never gets dull.
I don't know much about either one of you.
You never asked.
I'm not asking now. All I'm saying is, if either one of you ever needs a job or a friend, the name's John Slaughter.
If he decides to follow the river, we could spend the rest of our lives in this hole.
He won't. And we won't.
The rider's coming in.
What's he look like?
Wearing a white hat.
Come down.
How close do we let him get?
Close enough so I can touch him.
Have it your own way.
I always do. Go over with the rest of the men. And stand where he can't see you.
Hey, that coffee hot?
Sure.
Hey, you fellas looking for John Slaughter?
I am.
Tell your men I know how to use a gun.
There are a lot of them.
Insurance?
I could have had you cut down the second you hit the top of the ridge.
Now, why didn't you?
Because I wanted you to know who gave it to you.
Fair enough.
Oh, I'll do better than that. You owe me some money from a card game you stuck up. I'll take your cattle. We'll call it even.
They're at the river.
I'm disappointed. I thought you'd put up a little fight.
So far, all you've done is talk.
They dug 13 graves so men who wouldn't listen.
And how many did they bury face down so you could see the hole in their back?
Since the first time we met, you've been begging to be number 14.
The first time we met, you cheated at cards.
And you made the mistake of catching me.
You just weren't smart enough or fast enough. He had a friend named Boyd. I'm gonna save you the trouble of riding after me. Somebody killed a friend of mine, I'd gun him.
Now, wait a... He wasn't that good a friend of mine. He wasn't.
Anybody else figure he wants to take Gallagher's place? Any of you fellas want to make an honest dollar? I need some hands to drive a herd to El Oro. The pay is $40 a month and keep.
Sounds like a good deal. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll go along too. I could use some money.
And I got a job for you too, mister. Only the pay's not so good. Bury him.
Welcome home.
Doc, what are you doing here?
Oh, came to see Addie. Been here most of the night.
Is she not sick, is she?
No, just a little tired. You see, John, having a baby is not the easiest thing in the world.
Baby? Baby? You're not supposed to be here for another 2 weeks.
You can argue that out with your child. As for me, I'm a little tired also, so I'm going home.
Addie. Middle of September. It's not even the 1st. Was it... I mean, are you...
It was, and I am. And wouldn't you like to meet your new daughter? Addie, meet your father.
Gotta touch it?
Why, sure. Only it is a her.
Oh, she's pretty. She's a little small. She's pretty as her mother. Hey there. Hey there, sweet. Oh. Oh, honey. Come on, don't cry. Oh. I got you that shawl. And some Spanish lace. And some presents for the baby. And I sold the cattle at a wonderful price, and I got a contract to supply beef for next spring.
John, it's a girl baby.
Oh, this one. It's got ribbons, and a doll, some blankets.
John? What are we going to do with these?
We'll find a use for them someday.
In Texas, a ranger he had to become, and outlaws he defied. For Texas, John Slaughter made 'em do what they oughter, 'cause if they didn't, they died.